Learn to be happy. Your life will change. Best Buddhism, engaging in suspenseful story. Title: The Path of Shadows and Light. In a small village nestled at the foot of a misty mountain, lived a young monk named Ananda. He had been raised in the temple from a young age, having been orphaned by war. The temple was his sanctuary, a place where the quiet teachings of the Buddha filled the air like incense. But despite years of practice, Ananda struggled to find the happiness his teachers spoke of. He felt trapped in a cycle of fear, anger, and sorrow, unable to escape the shadows that clung to his heart. The head monk, Venerable Suman, had noticed Ananda's restlessness. "Ananda," he said one evening after the prayers had ended, "you have learned the teachings of the Buddha, but you have not yet lived them. You seek happiness, but you search in the wrong places. But I meditate. I recite the sutras. I follow the path. Why then do I feel so lost?" Ananda asked, his voice filled with frustration. True happiness is not found by grasping or by following rigid rules. It is found by letting go and living in harmony with the world. Venerable Suman explained, "To help you see this, I will send you on a journey. In the next village, a great sage lives by the river. Go to him. He will guide you in understanding what it truly means to be happy." Ananda set out the following morning, the mountain mist still heavy in the air. The path to the next village was treacherous, winding through dense forests and across rocky streams. As he walked, his mind churned with doubts. What if the sage had no answers? What if he failed this journey too? Hours passed, and Ananda finally reached the village. By the river's edge stood a small wooden hut, and in front of it, a man was sweeping the ground. The man looked ordinary, his robes plain and his face weathered with age, but there was a serenity in his movements that caught Ananda's attention. "Are you the sage I seek?" Ananda asked hesitantly. The man smiled. "I am merely a humble caretaker of this land, but yes, some call me a sage." "What is it you seek, young monk?" "I seek happiness, but no matter how hard I try, I cannot find it. My heart is heavy with sorrow and fear, and the teachings I have learned do not bring me peace," Ananda confessed. The sage nodded, as if he had heard this many times before. "Tell me, Ananda, when you meditate, where is your mind?" "On my breath, or sometimes on the teachings of the Buddha," Ananda replied. "And when sorrow arises, where is your mind then?" Ananda paused, unsure of how to answer. I think of the suffering in the world, of all that has been lost." The sage leaned on his broom, gazing thoughtfully at the river. "The Buddha teaches that life is suffering. Yes, but he also teaches that suffering is not the end of the story. Happiness is not something you find by escaping suffering. It is something you cultivate within, even in the presence of pain." Ananda frowned. "How can I be happy when there is so much suffering around me? How can I let go of the pain in my heart?" "Let me show you," the sage said, motioning for Ananda to follow him to the riverbank. They sat on a large rock, and the sage pointed to the flowing water. "Look at the river, Ananda. Does it struggle against the rocks?" "No," Ananda replied. "It flows around them." "Exactly. The river does not resist the obstacles in its path. It embraces them and moves forward. In the same way, you must learn to let go of resistance. Happiness comes not from avoiding difficulties, but from accepting them as part of life and flowing with them." Ananda thought about the sage's words, but doubt still gnawed at him. "But how do I do that? How do I flow like the river when my heart is so heavy?" The sage stood and began walking back to his hut. "There is something I need to show you." Curious, Ananda followed him inside. The hut was simple, but on one wall hung a large ornate mirror. It was covered in dust, barely reflecting any light. The sage took a cloth and began to wipe it clean. As the dust cleared, the mirror revealed a sharp, clear reflection. "This mirror is like your mind," the sage said. "When it is clouded with sorrow, anger, and fear, it cannot reflect the truth clearly. But when you clean it, when you let go of your attachments, it shines brightly. Happiness is not something you add to your life. It is what remains when you remove the dust from your mind." Ananda stood in silence, watching his reflection become clearer in the mirror. He began to understand. His sorrow, his fear, they were not the cause of his unhappiness. His attachment to them, his resistance to the natural flow of life, was what kept him trapped. "But how do I let go?" Ananda asked again, softer this time. The sage smiled kindly. "Begin by accepting the present moment, whatever it brings. When pain arises, do not push it away. When joy arises, do not cling to it. Observe it, as you would watch the river. In time, you will see that all things pass, and beneath it all, there is a peace that never leaves you." Ananda nodded, feeling a sense of clarity for the first time in years. He realized that happiness was not something to be chased or found in the future. It was something that could be cultivated here and now by embracing life as it was, not as he wished it to be. As he prepared to leave, the sage gave him one final piece of advice. Remember, Ananda, happiness is a choice you make every day. It is not dependent on the world around you, but on how you choose to see that world. Learn to be happy in each moment, and your life will change. With these words echoing in his mind, Ananda began his journey back to the temple. The path seemed less treacherous now, the mist lighter, the obstacles less daunting. He no longer feared the shadows in his heart, for he knew they too would pass like the river around the rocks. And as he walked, Ananda smiled, not because his journey was over, but because he had finally begun to walk the path of true happiness. As Ananda walked back toward the temple, he felt the sage's teachings sinking deeper into his mind, like seeds being planted in fertile soil. For the first time, his steps felt light, as if the burden he had carried for so long had lessened. He had always thought happiness was something far away, a distant goal that he would reach only after years of perfect meditation and practice. But now, he realized, happiness had been within him all along, buried beneath layers of resistance, fear, and sorrow. Upon returning to the temple, the familiar sounds of chanting monks greeted him, and the scent of incense hung in the air. He approached the head monk, Venerable Suman, and bowed deeply. "I have met the sage," Ananda said. "He taught me that happiness is not something to be found, but something to be cultivated by letting go." Venerable Suman smiled, his eyes twinkling with quiet wisdom. "And how will you begin to let go, Ananda?" "I will accept the present moment, just as it is," Ananda said. "I will flow like the river, embracing whatever comes without clinging or resisting." The head monk nodded approvingly. "This is the beginning of true practice. But remember, Ananda, the mind is subtle. It will often pull you back into old habits of grasping and attachment. You must remain vigilant, like a gardener tending to the seeds of mindfulness." Ananda took these words to heart. Over the following weeks, he integrated the sage's teachings into his daily life. He meditated not to escape suffering, but to observe it with compassion. When sorrow arose, he allowed himself to feel it fully, without judgment. And when moments of joy came, he did not cling to them, but appreciated them as fleeting gifts. The other monks noticed a change in Ananda. His once furrowed brow softened, and the tension in his shoulders eased. He laughed more freely, and his presence brought a sense of calm to those around him. He began to share what he had learned with the younger monks, teaching them not through sermons or lectures, but through the way he lived each day, with openness, kindness, and acceptance. But as Ananda's peace deepened, he found himself facing a new challenge. One evening, a traveler came to the temple seeking refuge. His clothes were torn, and his face bore the marks of a long and painful journey. The traveler's eyes were filled with anger and bitterness, and he lashed out at the monks, accusing them of living in luxury while the world outside suffered. "You sit here in your peaceful temple," the traveler spat, "while people like me starve and struggle. What do you know of real suffering? How can you claim to have found happiness when you are so detached from the world?" Ananda felt a surge of emotion rise within him. The traveler's words stung, and for a moment, he felt defensive. But then he remembered the sage's lesson. Happiness is a choice, even in the face of difficulty. He approached the traveler, bowing respectfully. "You are right," Ananda said softly. "We live in peace here, but that does not mean we are blind to the suffering of the world." The Buddha taught that life is full of pain, but he also taught that we can learn to face it with compassion for ourselves and others. The traveler scowled. "Empty words. What does compassion matter when I cannot feed my family? What do your teachings do for those who have nothing?" Ananda paused, considering the traveler's anger. Compassion is not just a feeling. It is action. We cannot end all suffering, but we can ease it, one small act at a time. With these words, Ananda invited the traveler inside, offering him food and a place to rest. The other monks joined in, tending to his needs without question or judgment. Slowly, the traveler's anger softened, replaced by exhaustion and sorrow. As he ate, he began to tell his story of how war had destroyed his village, how he had lost his family, and how he had wandered for weeks, lost and hungry. Ananda listened with an open heart, allowing the vat to express his pain without interruption. He did not try to offer solutions or fix the traveler's problems. Instead, he simply sat with him, offering the gift of presence and understanding. By the time the traveler finished speaking, his face was wet with tears, but the anger had melted away. "I don't know what to do," he whispered. "I've lost everything." Ananda placed a hand on the traveler's shoulder. "You have lost much, but you are still here. Life has a way of rebuilding itself, even in the darkest times. It won't be easy, but you can start again." The traveler looked at Ananda, his eyes searching for something, perhaps hope, perhaps peace. "How do you stay so calm in the face of all this suffering?" Ananda smiled gently. "I have learned that suffering is part of life, just as joy is, but neither lasts forever. I have found peace by accepting this truth, by not fighting against the flow of life. When we stop resisting, we open ourselves to healing." The traveler stayed at the temple for several days, helping with chores and meditating alongside the monks. Slowly, his bitterness gave way to gratitude. And when he finally left, his heart was lighter. He did not leave with all his problems solved, but he left with a seed of understanding, a new perspective on his suffering, and a sense that happiness was not as far away as he had thought. As Ananda watched the traveler disappear into the horizon, he reflected on his own journey. The path to happiness was not a straight line, nor was it free from pain, but he now understood that happiness was not an endpoint. It was a way of being, a daily practice of acceptance, compassion, and presence. He turned back toward the temple, the mountain mist swirling gently in the air. He still had much to learn, but he no longer feared the shadows within his heart. For now, he knew that even in the darkest moments, there was light to be found, if only he chose to see it.